Life can feel confusing, like you're not sure where to go next. Leo felt that way until a kind stranger offered some simple advice. This is a story about how a little encouragement can help you find your way. In a quiet neighborhood, there lived a young man named Leo. At 23, Leo felt lost in a world that seemed to move too fast. His friends were landing jobs, traveling, and starting families, while he was stuck working at a local grocery store, unsure of what he wanted from life. He often felt like he was watching life pass him by, and it left him feeling anxious and overwhelmed. One afternoon, after a particularly long shift, Leo decided to take a walk in the nearby park to clear his mind. The air was fresh, and the leaves rustled gently in the breeze. As he walked, he noticed an older woman sitting on a bench, feeding the birds. She had a kind smile and a warmth that radiated from her. "Hello there," she called out as Leo passed by. "Why the long face, young man?" Leo paused, feeling a mix of surprise and curiosity. "I guess I just have a lot on my mind," he admitted, taking a seat beside her. "I feel stuck, like everyone else knows what they're doing except me." The woman nodded knowingly. "I understand. Sometimes it feels like the world is rushing ahead while we're standing still. My name is Rose, by the way." "Nice to meet you, Rose. I'm Leo," he replied, grateful for her kindness. "What's on your mind, Leo?" Rose asked gently. "I don't know what I want to do with my life. I see my friends succeeding, and I just feel lost. It's like I'm watching everyone else bloom while I'm still a seed in the dirt." Rose smiled softly. "You know, every flower takes time to grow. It's okay to feel like a seed right now. Growth doesn't happen overnight." "But what if I never bloom?" Leo asked, the worry clear in his voice. "Ah, but you will," Rose assured him. "The key is to nurture yourself. Just like a seed needs sunlight, water, and care, you need to take small steps towards your dreams. What do you enjoy doing? What makes you feel alive?" Leo thought for a moment. "I used to love drawing as a kid. I haven't picked up a pencil in years, though." "Why not start there?" Rose suggested. "Take a little time each day to draw. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just let your creativity flow. Sometimes, rediscovering a passion can light the way." Leo felt a spark of excitement at the thought. Maybe I could do that. But what if I'm not good enough? Good enough for whom? Rose smiled. You don't have to compare yourself to others. Art is about expressing yourself. The joy is in the process, not just the result. Besides, every artist starts somewhere. Inspired by her words, Leo decided to give it a try. The next day, he pulled out his old sketchbook and started to draw. First, he felt rusty and unsure. But as he let his pencil glide across the page, he felt a sense of freedom. Each line and curve brought him joy, and he found himself lost in the moment. Over the next few weeks, Leo made it a point to draw every day. He even joined an online art community where he shared his work and connected with other artists. The encouragement he received from the community fueled his passion, and he began to believe in himself again. One day, while sharing a new piece online, Leo received a message from a local art gallery. They invited him to showcase his work at an upcoming exhibit. He could hardly believe it. When the day of the exhibit arrived, Leo was both nervous and excited. Standing in front of his artwork, he watched as people admired his pieces. Each compliment felt like a seed of confidence being planted in his heart. Amid the crowd, he spotted Rose, who had come to support him. "You did it, Leo," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with pride. "Look at how far you've come. I couldn't have done it without your advice." Leo replied, smiling. "You helped me see that it was okay to start small and to follow my passion. Remember, it's just the beginning," Rose said, her voice full of encouragement. "Keep nurturing your dreams, and don't be afraid to take risks. You have so much potential." As the evening went on, Leo felt a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that life wasn't about rushing to success. It was about embracing the journey, nurturing his passions, and connecting with others along the way. Months later, Leo found himself in a new rhythm. He continued to draw, explore different mediums, and even started teaching art classes at a local community center. He shared his story with his students, encouraging them to embrace their creativity and take small steps toward their dreams. One day, while cleaning up after a class, he noticed a familiar figure in the doorway. It was Rose, beaming with pride. "I just had to see what you've created since our first conversation." Leo's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in me, Rose. Your advice changed everything. Remember, Leo," she said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You're the one who made the choice to grow. Keep planting those seeds, and watch what blooms." With that, Leo smiled, knowing he had found his way, not just as an artist, but as a person willing to embrace life's possibilities, one small step at a time. A few months had passed since Leo's first conversation with Rose, and he couldn't believe how much had changed in his life. What once felt like a hopeless, stagnant future now seemed full of possibilities. He had followed Rose's advice and rekindled his love for drawing, something he hadn't done since childhood. Little by little, his confidence grew as he shared his work online and connected with other artists. But even as things were looking up, doubts still lingered. Leo couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't quite there yet, that there was still something missing. His art felt good, but was it enough to build a future on? Was this really the path he was meant to follow? One quiet afternoon, Leo decided to visit the park again. It was where he had met Rose, and he hoped the fresh air might clear his mind. He found the same bench where they'd sat months ago, and to his surprise, Rose was there, feeding the birds. She smiled warmly when she saw him. "Back again." "I see," Rose said, her voice light with affection. "How's the art going?" Leo sat down beside her, a bit hesitant. "It's going well. Actually, I've been drawing every day, sharing my work online, and people seem to like it. But," he paused, looking down at his hands, "I don't know if I'm ready to make it my full-time thing. What if I fail? What if it's not enough?" Rose gave a soft laugh, the kind of laugh that made you feel like everything would be okay. "You know, Leo, I think everyone who's ever done something they love has asked themselves that same question. But here's the truth. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Life isn't a straight line. It's more like a winding road, full of unexpected turns. The key is to keep moving forward, even when you're unsure." "But what if moving forward means failing?" Leo asked, his voice tinged with worry. Rose looked at him with a kind, understanding gaze. "What if failing is just part of the process? You can't learn without making mistakes. And failing doesn't mean you're not good enough, it means you're trying. It means you're growing." Leo nodded slowly, taking in her words. "I guess I've been afraid to fail. Afraid that I'm not good enough to make this work." Rose smiled gently. "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. Your art, your passion, that's what makes you unique. And that's what people connect with. As long as you keep being true to yourself, you'll find your way." Leo sat quietly for a moment, letting Rose's words sink in. Maybe he didn't need to have it all figured out. Maybe taking the next step, even if it was small, was all that mattered. "You're right," he said finally. "I've been focusing too much on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. I just need to keep moving, one step at a time." Rose patted him gently on the back. "Exactly. And remember, it's okay to take breaks, too. Growth doesn't happen in a straight line, it has its ups and downs. Just be kind to yourself along the way." With a feeling of peace settling over him, Leo stood up, ready to take that next step. He knew the road ahead wouldn't always be smooth, but for the first time in a while, he felt ready to walk it. In the weeks that followed, Leo continued to create. He didn't wait for everything to be perfect before sharing his work with the world. He took Rose's advice to heart, allowing himself to fail and learn along the way. Slowly but surely, his art began to speak for itself. Then, one evening, he received an unexpected message. A local art gallery wanted to feature his work in a group show. His heart raced with excitement. He couldn't believe it. His dream was starting to become a reality. On the day of the show, Leo stood in front of his paintings, surrounded by strangers who admired his work. He saw the same look in their eyes that he had once felt when looking at others' art. Awe, wonder, and connection. He realized, for the first time, that his journey wasn't just about him, it was about sharing something real with the world. As the night went on, Leo looked around for Rose. He spotted her at the far end of the gallery, a proud smile on her face as she watched him from afar. He walked over to her, his heart full of gratitude. "You did it, Leo," she said, her voice soft but full of pride. "I knew you could. I couldn't have done it without you," Leo said, his voice filled with emotion. "Your words, they've stuck with me. You helped me see that I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to try." Rose smiled, her eyes twinkling. "You've always had it in you, Leo. You just had to believe it. Keep going. You're on the right path." As Leo stood there, feeling the warmth of her words, he realized something. The journey was never about having all the answers. It was about trusting himself, embracing the process, and knowing that even the smallest steps could lead to something big. And as he looked around at the gallery full of people, Leo knew this was just the beginning. There was still so much more to explore, so many more roads to walk. But he was no longer afraid to take the next step because he knew that, no matter what happened, he was on the right path. As the months passed, Leo continued to grow, both as an artist and as a person. His art, once a quiet passion, now filled the walls of galleries and the screens of those who followed his work online. But more than the recognition, it was the sense of fulfillment that mattered most to him, the feeling that he was finally on the right path, doing something that brought him joy. There were still moments of doubt. Of course, life, as Rose had told him, wasn't a straight line. Some days, the fear of failure crept back in, and Leo wondered if he was really capable of going further. But with each new painting, each new challenge, he remembered Rose's words. "It's okay to fail. Just keep trying. You're enough as you are." One afternoon, as Leo was packing up his supplies after a painting session, he got a message from Rose. It was simple, just a few words. "I'm proud of you, Leo. Keep shining." He smiled and put his phone down, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. He didn't need to know what the future held. He didn't need to have every step planned out. All he needed was to keep going, one small step at a time. And so, Leo painted. He created. He dreamed. He failed. And then he rose again. He knew now that the beauty of life wasn't in finding the perfect path, but in trusting the journey, embracing the mistakes, and knowing that, in time, everything would fall into place. Because, as Rose had taught him, sometimes the only thing you really need is the courage to take that first step. Moral of the story: the journey to finding your path isn't always clear, and it's okay to feel lost sometimes. Growth takes time, and failure is just a part of the process. What matters most is taking small steps, trusting yourself, and being patient with the process. You don't have to be perfect to start, you just have to begin. Let's enrich our vocabulary with some new words. Stagnant, not growing or changing. Feeling stuck. Example: after months of doing the same routine, Sarah felt her life had become stagnant, with no new experiences or growth. Rekindled, to bring back or start something again, like a passion or interest. Example: when Jamie picked up her old guitar, she rekindled her love for music, something she hadn't touched in years. Resonate, to make a strong emotional connection with someone or something. Example: the teacher's words about kindness resonated with the students, inspiring them to be more thoughtful to others. Encouragement, support or confidence given to someone to help them succeed or keep going. Example: Leo was nervous about his first art show, but the encouragement from his friends gave him the confidence to go on. Fulfillment, a feeling of satisfaction or happiness when you're doing something meaningful. Example: Maria found fulfillment in helping others, knowing that her work made a real difference in their lives. Doubt, a feeling of uncertainty or lack of confidence about something. Example: he was filled with doubt when he first started his new job, unsure if he could live up to the expectations. Determination, the strong will to achieve something, no matter the challenges. Example: despite the challenges, Emily's determination to finish her project kept her working late into the night. Mistakes, things you do wrong, which help you learn and improve. Example: first, Jake was embarrassed by his mistakes, but he learned that failing was just part of the process of learning. Nurture, to take care of something so it can grow and develop. Example: parents should nurture their children's talents by providing them with the support and resources they need to grow. Patience, the ability to wait or deal with things without getting frustrated. Example: building a career takes time, and it requires a lot of patience, as success doesn't come overnight. Journey, a process or path you take in life, often with challenges and growth along the way. Example: the journey to self-discovery can be long and difficult, but it's always worth it when you finally find your true passion. Perfection, being flawless or without any mistakes, often an impossible goal. Example: Samantha realized that striving for perfection in her artwork only made her feel stressed. Sometimes, it's better to embrace imperfection. Inspiration, a feeling of being motivated or encouraged to do something creative or meaningful. Example: the beauty of the sunset gave him the inspiration he needed to finish his painting. Courage, the bravery to do something despite fear or uncertainty. Example: it took a lot of courage for Alex to speak in front of the class, but he did it and felt proud afterward. Path, a direction or course in life, representing the choices you make. Example: after graduation, Clara was unsure of her path in life. but she decided to travel for a year to explore different options. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you liked the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care, and see you next time.